So we're sitting, the entire family, in our favorite local restaurant here in our neighborhood in Rome. This is probably the fifth time that we're there over the past couple of months. And as always, there is Helen, which is the waiter, bartender, single person running the place. She's not the owner. It's just her turn to be there. And she's amazing. Why? When we're talking about dishes, she immediately says, yes, okay, we can get those and split them across the kids. We can actually make that a double if you guys want to turn it from an appetizer into that. Oh, I know, I remember the last time you really enjoyed that. I have this. Would you like to try it? And she knows all the different wines really, really well. When she sees the kids, she always suggests something for them. If she sees that a kid is annoyed, she'll say, hey, do you want to play with this lamp that changes colors? Whatever. She's there. She has so much agency and autonomy. It drives me insane. Once we forgot something in the place, she didn't have my number, she actually went and found us through Instagram because we tagged them, God knows when, and she found me, sent me a message on Instagram saying, hey, this and this happened. Or another time that we asked about a dessert with peaches that we ate there, I don't know, a year ago, that my daughter really, really loves, and we just asked, hey, by any chance do you still have that? And she immediately said, no, but you know what? I've actually got some peaches there. Let me whip something up for you guys. And that is amazing, first of all. Yes, I love the place. But it drives me insane because I look at that. I'm like, she's amazing. She has all of this agency, so much power. When she does things, she's just trying to help. She's in there with you. She knows everyone. It's not just us. And she gives you this sensation of things are amazing. And I repeat, she is not the owner. This is not the person who owns the place. And the person who owns the place is the same, but she's just an employee and she also does that. And when I look at that, you know what I keep asking myself? How come she does it for, the salary that you get paid working in a trattoria in Rome, as opposed to what you, as a senior leader, what your engineers are getting paid? There's quite a difference, and a lot of the times there's still a huge gap when it comes to how much agency she has and how much agency you or your people have. Why can't you all be that deliberate, have that sort of extreme ownership? What's holding us back? This video is exactly about that. Turning your team more from wherever you currently are placed to something that's a lot more Helen-like, because I believe you can do it. We're going to be covering it real quick with some tactics that I've been using with my clients recently. So strap yourselves, let's get to it. By the way, before we're getting started, if you're new here, hi, I'm Aviv Ben-Yosef. I'm a tech executive coach and consultant, and I help people just like you turn their R&D organizations from the company's biggest expenses to the biggest advantage. This has a lot to help with that. So let's get started. When my wife told Helen that she's amazing at her job, you know what she said? She said, yes, it's because I love my job. And I'm sure she does love her job, but I'm not sure about the cause and effect. I think that probably because an environment was created where she was allowed to bloom like that. She loves her job and therefore she operates like that. You have to start by giving people that agency and ensuring that they know that they have it in order for them to actually enjoy, be motivated, love what they're doing. Once you do that, things become magical, and I've seen it in a lot of organizations that have this special sense, special fairy dust in their culture. I think that the trap here is that we're bound to create organizations that are too, lawyer-like. People start fearing what would happen if they were to step on anyone's toes, to do something without first asking for direct permission. We have all of these meetings. Everyone is afraid of being those who are responsible for something, of doing something that they're not supposed to be doing, etc. And when we end up having that sort of thinking, nothing can move, nothing can be innovative or quick. The agency just drops. You can turn things around by ensuring that people understand, people and yourself understand what's possible, what you're allowed to do, and creating a culture where people can do things, experiment, and move faster. This starts by understanding the model that we want to have, the mindset that we're aiming for. There are two ways to think about it that I really like. You can choose whatever you feel more comfortable with. One is, as Alan Weiss always says, imagine a permission gauge. And on one end, it can be all the way down to you have no permission, you're just waiting to be told what to do. You can turn it a bit up and a bit up. All the way in the other end is like you're doing whatever you want, you're a pirate. But if you turn it, down a notch or two from piracy, what you have is someone who assumes permission. You will do things that you think are in everyone's best interest, the things that the company would likely want you to do, and that are within reason, and just do those, knowing that that's probably what the company wants. If you're going to get burned, you're going to get burned. We're going to talk about it later. But when you have that mindset, all of a sudden, you have the ability of doing so many things. You can just start getting to it. You can just try something. You can suggest the peaches dessert that you don't have on the menu today because you saw that my girl was, looking for that. You had some peaches in the kitchen. You're like, we can whip something up. That's what we want to create. Another way of looking at it is to do what they do in Python. The way Guido, I think, has structured it is something like, it's better to ask for forgiveness later than to ask for permission in advance. So when you think about it like that, you know that you're in an environment where, as long as what you're doing is not completely insane, things are going to be fine. People are not going to be angry with you for taking the initiative, for moving forward, for trying to do things. So that's what I want you to have in mind. That's what I want you to think about when you're thinking about your role, and also think about how clear is this to your people, to your team. When you're looking at people and you keep asking yourself, why do they keep coming to me with these questions? Why cannot they do things by themselves? Think, do they have this model? Do they understand that they can just assume permission and get going? Were you ever that clear of them? If not, they just might not even realize that it's possible, that you would be fine with it. So decide about one of these models and start communicating it to your people. That's going to do some magic. Some tactics in order to turn that model, whichever one of the two that you choose, into things that you're doing in practice. Number one is to give people just enough guidance and then let them roam free. This is, imagine like what we do with kids as they grow up. Slowly, we allow them some more freedom. At the beginning, they're, on the carpet and they cannot move from that carpet. Later, they go to, the gymboree, and they can just play in that safe area. Then we can go to the park with them and they remain, a couple of yards from us, and we look at them and that's fine. Later, they get bigger. You allow them to roam within your eyesight if they go as they are now bigger. Later, they're gonna actually go around to places without you by their side. That's what we want to create. We give them the guidelines. They understand what they can do, and slowly we're creating an environment where they can do things safely and yet still grow, still experiment, still make some mistakes. You need to do the same with your people. You need to take a step back so they have room to do things and experiment. So when they have a question, can I do this? Can I do that? You're not there. You're not there, hovering, and you're not there as easily accessible for them to just instinctively say, hey, raising their hand, hey, can I do this? Can I do that? Give them the space, give them the guidance to start experimenting, start doing things, let you know how it works, let you know whether things are making sense or not, and then you can talk about it later. Turn things around. Number two, celebrate creativity. When people are trying things, even if those things end up failing, I want you to be there with them and tell them that you're proud that they at least tried. Proud that they took the initiative. Someone comes to you, says, hey, I tried to do this, I failed, it didn't work out, or I thought that this would be a good way of doing it, it turned out to be so-so, or, even when it works, don't just say, amazing that we have a solution. Also say, amazing that you even thought of trying things by yourselves, that you created this experiment, that you tried that idea. You want to help cultivate that sort of thinking and behavior in your culture. It becomes that much easier when you're actively encouraging and giving people the right encouragement to do these sorts of things. So be very clear about the fact that you're pro that experimentation, you're pro creativity. And even if that creativity doesn't always succeed, if it's within the bounds, within the logical, common sense realm, that's a good experiment. Number 3, aim for the 80-20 when it comes to the environment that you create. Don't try to eliminate 100% of the possible mistakes. So when you're giving people the permission to do things, when you're giving them the agency, the ability to do things by themselves, when you're creating the guidance and telling them to roam, like we just talked about, going back to my example earlier, you don't want to create an organization where people are only operating within a completely safe zone, because then they're only going to be playing in a padded area of the gymboree, right? And those are fine where people are like a few months old, but once we get a bit bigger, those no longer work. And you want to make sure that you're not trying to create the equivalent for your engineers who are getting a lot of money to do adult grown-up work. They can take care of themselves. So what we want to create is an organization where we have enough guidance so that, the catastrophes are not going to happen. But some mistakes are baked into it. That allows for more experimentation, more learning. When we actually do something, we try, we took the initiative, when it works and when it doesn't, either way, people learn. They get that experience. That's how we create experience rather than repeating the same thing that we already know how to do. So don't aim to not have any mistakes, any errors, any deadline slip. Things are not gonna be amazingly perfect. That's fine. You're not NASA. Give people the ability to mistake, to err is human. Allow them to do that, and you'll see how they slowly or even quickly learn and improve. And lastly, you need to be modeling this yourself. Don't wait to be told what to do by the chief product officer, by the CEO, whatever. Be also the sort of person who models what this extreme ownership is about. If you have an idea about something that you can do to improve the organization, do it. Grab it and find a way to do it. Find the right person to speak to in order to create that reality. Have that sense of executive mindset where you show people that if we think about something and we think that it makes sense, we can try it, and if it works, it's gonna be incredible. When you have that modeling, you can really make things stick with people. I found that many times when we just had a replacement of a team lead, a director, sometimes a VP, the team really changed its whole culture without any deliberate change. Like sometimes we just have people change. Maybe the VP became CTO. Maybe they moved to be a VP in a different site, whatever. We have a new person there. That person might not even started to change things up, but just because they were taking the initiative, they were a lot braver. They had more courage. They assumed more permission when they did things. All of a sudden, people who have been around, sometimes for years, have started to do the same. They all of a sudden realize that, I don't have shackles, right? I can roam free. I can walk around here and try to find something interesting to do. So we want to create that. When you start modeling it, you really can make a huge difference on everyone around you much faster. I think that from everything that we just talked about, once you talk about your mindset and you told them to assume permission, for example, if you also model it, it's a lot more effective than the rest of the tactics. So if you feel like you're not there yet yourself, you can really make a push by deciding to be very mindful of this and doing it repeatedly every day, trying to ask yourself, where can I take the initiative? Where can I model this behavior? If you need help upgrading yourself there, my email's in the video description. Hit me up. That's all for this video. I hope that you can start creating an organization that's more like the amazing restaurant that we like around here. We need more of those experiences in those places in our lives. If you need any help with anything or have any questions or comments, let me know in my email or in the comments to this video. If you like this, please like and subscribe. It really helps. And I'll see you here in the next video. Ciao.